Where Winds Meet is a game that can quite often be fairly overwhelming for new players, with so many different menus and events and tracking systems and progression systems and collectibles. But in today's video, what I wanted to do is go over my top priorities when it comes to dailies and weeklies in Where Winds Meet. So if you only have a limited amount of time, or if you have perhaps some anxiety that you're not getting the most out of this game, ultimately, as long as you're having fun, you're doing it right. But I wanted to talk about my experience with Where Winds Meet after playing for several hundred hours now. What do I prioritize when it comes to logging in with Where Winds Meet? What am I trying to get done on a daily basis and a weekly basis? So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. As always, you'll be able to scrub along the video, check out the timestamps down below if there's a particular section that you're interested in. We're going to talk about dailies, and then we're going to talk about weeklies. And we're going to go through it in terms of what I think is most important, for progression, and then stuff that is maybe just I find fun. By no means do you have to do everything that I include in this video, but I thought it would be kind of handy from the perspective of a player who's played a lot to explain why I prioritize certain things in the game. The first strategy I try to incorporate into my daily Where Winds Meet gameplay is what I call the no energy gear farm. To do this, you basically need to find an area on the map with a fairly high density of enemies. There's a really good quest for this called Beauty in the Shade, which you can get in Qinghe. I'll do this without that quest because some of you guys may have already finished it, but if you haven't, definitely go there and do the quest for it. It is really, really good. We'll put a link up in the top right and in the description down below to a short that explains how to unlock it and why is it so good. But the effective strategy is we're just going to go around and kill some NPCs so they drop loot. However, you can just do this by going to Wandering Paths and then go challenges and go joint battle. You could kill enemies there. And again, you're not spending energy to get the items. You're just getting the items to drop off of the enemies in general. That's why it's no energy. But doing this with the Veil of Stillness abilities, it's the one that makes you invisible, and then also with your In a Way Shadow Assault upgraded to tier 3, it's going to give you this proc here. It says, after a successful ambush, there is a high chance to obtain loot from the target. And if we just go around and kill a few guards real quick, you'll see that when they die, they'll drop an item and they also drop some coin, which is a pretty big deal. And then you can loot their body, get some coin again, and get another item. And occasionally, usually like every 3 to 4 kills, you will also get some gear to drop. Now this gear is only going to be blue quality. You'll never get purples, you'll never get legendaries, and you might be thinking, well, why would I care about blue items, Baggins? The reason why is because occasionally you'll get a blue item that drops with the guaranteed gold upgrade. So if I go and try and upgrade this one here, you can get those craft mods or whatever you want to call them, where it guarantees that the next perk is going to be legendary, and that's a pretty big deal. On top of that, you're just getting a bunch of extra fodder to feed into your gear. I find in particular right now with this breakthrough, when we're at tier 71, I need so many rocks, I need so many items to upgrade things, so just having a bag filled with basically blue junk to then feed into the actual items that I care about, it's quite valuable. And since it doesn't require any energy, it's effectively just free loot waiting there for you to collect. So the TLDR for this one is get the Veil of Stillness to go invisible, get the Touch of Death in a way, find an area with a high density of enemies. Right now we're at the normal Granary Fort, and then we're simply going to assassinate the enemy, get loot once, there's a sword, claim them again, hopefully get a second item, and then we can use these to feed into the legendaries that we care about. By the way, when it comes to this strategy, I find that I usually get about 2 to 3 rows of items. When you're killing the enemies and they don't drop any more coin, that's usually the indication that you're not going to get any more items. So this isn't an infinite gear farm, but it will get you on average about 20 items with every daily reset. Another activity I try to do daily in Where Winds Meet is gathering. If you guys open up the map, and then you click on this little plant icon over here, there are a ton of different gatherables you can go for all over the map. When you pick a flower up, for example, right now I'm looking for dried dogwood berry. When you pick these up, they will respawn 24 hours from the time you collected them. When you're in solo mode, when you're in multiplayer mode, they respawn every 5 minutes, but they don't always have the same location, sadly, in solo and multiplayer mode, and you have to compete with other players. So I find just getting them in solo mode every day basically ticks the box for me to give me enough to craft the thing that I'm interested in. Right now, I'm going for dried dogwood berries, because if I go to my bag and I go to crafting, I am trying to make multiple copies of this bow in hopes that we get the 3% chance at the legendary. I've made about 40 of them so far. We haven't had a single legendary, so just gonna keep going every day, gathering the dried dogwood berry. I also need timber, but that you can just chop down trees literally anywhere on the map, and beef tendon. You get a lot of that from that farming method that we were just talking about in the previous section. So yeah, the TLDR here is going around and picking flowers, or if you're interested in making rings, then maybe you need some of this scheist, or if that's how you say it. Another material that a lot of people will want early on is the materials that allow you to upgrade your mystic skills. So if I go to develop, and I go to my mystic skills, if I want to upgrade my wolf-like frenzy here, I need 18 of these Jade Tower Pearls. Where can we get Jade Tower Pearls? Well, we get them from gathering Jade Tower Peonies, which are located all over the map. So going around and picking up the particular resource that you're interested in once a day, and then doing it again around about the same time the next day, I personally find it's worthwhile. You guys might not decide that it's that fun. And again, like with most of the stuff we include in this video, are you going to be immediately at a loss if you don't do this? No, but I just think it's worthwhile. One extra bonus tip when it comes to doing most of this gathering, especially when it comes to the flowers, I strongly recommend that you pop a food buff that allows you to gather more, especially when it comes to those Jade Tower Pearls. The particular food that I like to use are called chicken noodles. If you want to get chicken noodles, all you need to do is open up your map. In the bottom right of Kaifeng, in solo mode, you'll find a chess player here called Mao Tianyo. Right next to him, there is an NPC. I'll fast travel and show you guys that now. So this is the guy that you're looking for here. Mr. Mang, don't know if we're pronouncing that right. We talk to him and then we select let me have a taste. And here you'll be able to buy the famous chicken noodles that we just talked about. I recommend buying a lot of them. Also with these NPCs, we covered it in another video. If you buy a lot of food from them, you'll level up your reputation with them, and then you'll be able to get these in a way note chests. So pretty handy in that regard as well. But we want this food because it gives us the herbal gathering critical rate plus 20%. And this is especially useful when it comes to gathering flowers like the Jade Tower Peonies, because it increases your chances of getting the Jade Tower Pearl, or any other mystic skill that you're interested in. The Vicious Flowers is something I like to do fairly often because that also gets me Toxic Powder, which I need a lot of, and it increases the chances that we get Vicious Fruit as well. So the TLDR on this particular section or advice is to go around and gather flowers, pick the one that you're interested in and track it on the map, and make sure that when you're doing that, you also have the food buff active, in this case, chicken noodles. Once again, you can do this once every 24 hours. So from the time of collecting that particular resource on the map, it will respawn again 24 hours, same time next day. You can do this in multiplayer mode. It will respawn a lot faster, but you will have to compete with a lot of other players to do it as well. So my advice is just go around the map and pick up like maybe 1 or 2 resources of a particular thing that you're either trying to craft or upgrade for where the gathering is appropriate. The final daily that I don't always do every day, because to be honest, you don't need to do it every day, but it's still worthwhile doing, in my opinion, is for your Sect. Now, if you're not part of a Sect, or you don't even know what they are, you'll still have this menu. If you go to Sect, you can be earning a currency known as reputation, and you can spend this at the shop. Even if you're not part of a Sect, you guys will see, where is it, Sectless. You can buy an outfit. You can also buy a cool hat as well. For the Sect that I'm currently in, which is the Midnight Blades, I get access to this outfit here, which looks pretty cool in my opinion. We can also take a look at some of the other ones. I think the Well of Heaven has a pretty nice looking outfit. But like I say, in order to buy any of this, you're going to need this reputation, and the reputation can be earned through these daily missions. So again, we go to that Sect menu, then we go to Errand. There are going to be 6 missions that refresh every day with the daily reset. And you'll want to complete, I think it's about 18 of these. You get 72 for each mission, and you're capped at 1,200 in total for the coin that you can earn. So it's basically about 3, maybe 4 days of doing this full screen, and you'll have your reputation. So again, you don't need to do it every day, but I would say at least 3 days of the week you want to try and like lock them all in. They are pretty straightforward. You can refresh them. So if you see one that you don't like, maybe I don't want to do a musical performance, I can just refresh, don't like that one, refresh, don't like that one, until you get to something that you want to do. In terms of what I have on the screen here, I think these are the most straightforward ones or easy ones to do. This one, it's very quick, the Fragrant Path Companion, complete group cultivation. So we just open up the map, we go to multiplayer mode, we travel to Blissful Retreat. If I step into the circle, and then we just look for a group cultivation. Hopefully there's going to be some other people here. Yeah, there we go. Blessed Land. And then we just want to go up next to any of these groups. Start cultivation. I want to join Drunken Heart. Join him. And there we go. That's it done. And that was pretty straightforward. Musical note, performance can also be done very quickly as well. For me, I just need to bring up my emotes menu. So I'm going to leave this one. Step out of the circle. Bring up emotes. Go along to talent, and then I'm going to play this instrument here. and I'm just going to do a free play, and then I'm going to mash some notes. There we go. Hopefully the editor probably spared you from most of that. Oh, somebody, I got a like. Nice. Somebody enjoyed that. And that is another one complete there. So, you know, these are really easy to do. They take like all of a minute to maybe finish all of them. But they're definitely worth doing, in my opinion, for this currency. It's some free skins. And like I say, some of them do look really, really cool. So I try to incorporate this, you know, 3 times a week. So not quite a daily, maybe like a bi-daily activity, earning this reputation currency. We're now going to move on to weekly activities. So these are things that you should get done by every Sunday. Sunday is the weekly reset. It's 9 p.m. here in the UK on a Sunday, 10 p.m. for Europe. If you're in America, 4 p.m. East Coast, 1 p.m. West Coast. Other time zones are available, but that should cover a lot of people watching this video. This is stuff that you want to get done before that particular time on a Sunday. The first weekly activity is pretty straightforward, and it's just spending your energy. Most likely, if you're playing Where Winds Meet somewhat actively, you'll be doing this anyway. You'll be wishing you had more, but I feel like it's worth including in the video. Your energy is a resource that you want to use to claim basically any loot. Outside of the hero's realm, you'll need energy to claim loot from joint battles, or from sword trials, or from campaign challenges. If you want to get any loot in this game that's worthwhile, outside of, again, the hero's realm and the season shop, you are going to need to spend your energy. It takes about 75 hours to fully recharge from 0 to 500. If you're close to 500, I recommend just spend it. Spend it in some way. Don't let it sit at 500 because you're just wasting it. There's no overflow, so yeah, just spend it. One of the most straightforward ways to do it is to go to challenges, go to campaign challenges, and then pick any of these bosses. You can actually see what they drop, and you can get loot here. If you're in a real pinch, you can still spend some by going to the sword trial and doing joint battle. These are almost guaranteed to be completed. You're not really going to get that much in the way of good loot, but you will get some ebonine at least. And again, at least you'll be spending your energy. It's better to spend it than not use it at all. The Crimson Dream Supreme, this also gives some pretty good loot. It's honestly comparable. People say, like, what's better for loot? Is it campaign challenge bosses or is it sword trial? In my opinion, they're pretty much the same. It's equal chances. So whatever you find easier, whether it's the group content with other players or just playing solo versus one of these bosses, just make sure you spend some of that energy. Another weekly that you're very likely just going to naturally complete by playing the game is your Jade Fish. So that's this currency here. You can earn up to 20,000 a week currently. It's very, very easy to earn. Pretty much anything you do in the game will get you Jade Fish, whether it's dungeons, PvP, group content, solo, taking pictures with birds. I mean, it's just anything you do will get you Jade Fish. But if you're in a pinch and you really need to get some, my advice is maybe to take a look at the bounties. I think these have been particularly good because it also facilitates another thing that we want to talk about, and that is coin. There is a weekly coin cap of 175k. Weirdly enough, it says daily here, but then it's weekly over here. 175,000 coins. These can be pretty easily earned along with the Jade Fish just by going to the Wandering Paths, then going to Bounty, and then doing Vendetta. Occasionally you'll see players pop up in here and they'll give you a lot of rewards, but honestly these ones here, like Old Zhang or Fortune Teller Wang or Hu the Blacksmith, 5,000 coin, 750 jade. You do a few of these, you'll hit that Jade Fish cap in no time, and you'll also hit the coin cap fairly quickly as well. So bounty missions in order to get Jade Fish, and in order to get to the coin cap. That is a weekly thing that you want to do. Again, you don't really have to focus on this. It's very likely going to happen naturally from playing the game, but I do think it is important, so I wanted to include it in the weekly list. Another activity that is absolutely vital, I would say you really, really want to do this, is in your Wandering Paths, and then challenges, and then it's the Hero's Realm. This is the 10-player or raid content. You'll face one boss, then another boss. This gets you 5 boxes of loot from the first box, and then another 5 boxes of loot from the second boss. And these have a very high chance to give you legendaries. So this is going to be one of your best sources of getting legendary gear for your character, and it doesn't cost any energy. It's free. You only need to do it once a week. You'll only be able to claim loot from the boss once a week unless you are part of a guild. If you're in a guild, which is something I would recommend, you can go to your guild tab, and then we go to event, and then we're going to go to clear the guild hero realm. When you do it through this menu here, you can claim loot a second time. So you can get the 5 boxes from the first boss, the 5 boxes from the second boss, so you can get a total of 20 boxes from this if you do the normal version and the guild version, which should net you a lot of legendaries. So this is something that you should absolutely do. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people are going to say it's difficult. It's finding people who can actually complete the mechanics is going to be a challenge. What I will say, I would advise not doing it, but if you're in a pinch, if it's coming up to Sunday and you just can't find anybody, if like for the life of you, you cannot find a group. And by the way, if you are looking for a group, every day on the stream, we typically do 1 to 2 runs. We'll take anybody from chat, as long as you can just, you know, press buttons and not troll everybody. We'll be able to get you in on a run. Link to the stream in the description down below. But if it's coming to a Sunday and you just haven't been able to find a group, you can go Smart Assist and you can do it this way. You're only going to get 3 boxes of loot instead of 5 from each boss, but it'll put you in with an AI team. They're very likely going to complete it with no issue at all. So it is worth considering doing that if you're in a pinch. But yeah, doing the Heroes Realm, absolutely. At the bare minimum, make sure you do the Smart Assist, and then ideally do the guild version as well, because that is going to get you a lot of legendary loot from these boxes. Another weekly that I lock in pretty quickly is the reset of the shop. So if you go to Battle Pass, and then we go to shop, within the Battle Pass shop, there are some things that I always like to buy. The Mystic Skills Breakthrough box, the Custom Martial Arts box, the Protection Talisman, Bonus Talisman, basically everything that isn't a cosmetic. So all of the things that you can see here, I like to buy these out with the weekly reset because you'll earn plenty of these Battle Pass tokens. Even if you don't buy the paid version of the Battle Pass, you're going to get tons of these tokens along the free track here, and then you can just spend them to give you some handy progression materials. Next up is going to be spending your Jade Fish. To do this, we go to Season, and then Season Shop. From here, certain things that I like to buy: small box of Commerce Coin, Inaway Notes, Oscillating Jade if you need it. These can be purchased as and when, like it's going to pretty much decline, like get rid of all of your Jade Fish, so I wouldn't really sweat about buying them, but maybe just buying a few. But again, because the weekly restock is 999, that's way more Jade Fish than I'll ever have, so you don't really need to sweat about buying those. Something that you should definitely buy is your Tier 71 gear chest. These are going to be relevant for another like 5 weeks or so. So buying these as a way to get some potentially more legendary items. And then finally, if we go down to profession development, career notebooks, these are quite handy. These are used to level up your healer or your scholar profession. You want to make sure you do that. If we go to profession, then we go to healer, this allows you to craft the high tier medicine. So you need to be fairly upgraded when it comes to, I think you have to be like level 3 tier 4 if you want to make the big potions, and then the same with scholar over here. If you want to do the talisman crafting and you want to make something like the restoration script, which is particularly handy for PvP arena, then you'll need to level up your scholar a little bit as well. So buying the career notebooks is handy for that. And then finally, when we're in the season shop, at the bottom tab, appearance exchange, I would also recommend going in and buying the lingering melody if you're interested in it. It's just one, it's 200 jade. But buying this every week as a means to accrue some of the gacha pulls for free effectively. I've got a total of 79 now. Quite a few have come from the battle pass, but yeah, they do add up. It's worth also mentioning that if you go to shop and then we go to items, there is another 2 lingering melodies you can get here as well, again for another 400 jade in total. It should be the case that you'll have plenty of jade and not really much to spend it on if you've been playing the game for a decent while. So I think also buying the 2 there every week, and then buying the other one from the season shop and the appearance exchange, something I would definitely recommend doing as well. One of the final activities that you'll want to be doing every week is going to Wandering Paths, Typing Mausoleum, Legacy Exchange, and picking up some loot from here. I've actually not done this yet, so it's good that we come in here getting the Inaway Note boxes, the Inaway Note chest, the Mystic Skills Breakthrough, the Mystic Skills Breakthrough again, and then also these coin bags, because we need so much coin. Definitely worth picking up all of those. This will refresh every week. In order to get these currency, you'll need to go to Path Trial, and then you'll need to just do some stuff in here. Now, how many attempts we're going to get and whether this time like completely goes away, I believe this is going to be permanent content in the game, so even after this video comes out, you should still be able to go in here and get things. If not, then maybe you can consider this video defunct, or this part of the video defunct. But to be honest, if that's the case, we probably would have cut it from the edit anyway. So yeah, what I'm trying to get at here is go to Wandering Paths, then we go to Typing Mausoleum, Legacy Exchange, and buy these things from here. In order to get that currency, just go in and do some path trials. Ideally, you do all 9 of the main path that you're playing, whatever that may be. One of the final activities that I do every week, mainly just for fun, but it's also something I'm working towards. And again, this is kind of optional as to whether you want to do it, is to go to Wandering Paths, Arena, and then Perception Forest. I like to make sure I get at least like 3 to 5 games into this every week. And the reason why is not only because it's fun, it's a form of PvP that I enjoy, but also when you're playing Perception Forest, you'll be earning a currency called Sin Leaf. So I've got some of these in my bag right here. You can spend Sin Leaf, and I think you only get 2,000 a week, so it is a pretty rough cap on it. But if we go to Sin Leaf Exchange, we can buy some dyes, we can buy a hairstyle, but we can also buy a pretty cool outfit as well. Reminds me of sort of an Assassin's Creed kind of look. It's 22,000 Sin Leaf for this though, so I'm gonna have to wait for another weekly reset, and then another one after that. So yeah, with the ability to only get 2,000 of these each week, it is going to have to be a long-term goal in order to unlock the outfit, but I do think it looks pretty cool. It's free. So yeah, worthwhile knowing that that outfit exists. Let me see, by the way, what it looks like on a female character, if I can do that. I do not seem to have the option, sorry. But maybe it looks pretty cool on the female model as well. But either way, the TLDR for this one was just go into Wandering Paths Arena and just do a few games of Perception Forest. You can queue up solo, you can queue up with a friend, or you can even go for a group of 5. It's a Battle Royale game mode. If you'd like more information on how this game mode works, because I find a lot of people come in and find me playing on the stream and they have no idea what's going on, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be happy to make a guide. It's one of my favorite game modes, so if you're interested, let me know in those comments. So guys, that pretty much does it for all the dailies and weeklies that I care about and consider important. There are a lot of other things you can do in this game if you guys are interested and you want to leave some tips of dailies or weeklies that you think are important for whatever reason, you want to let other people know about them, drop it in the comments down below. There's one other thing that I didn't mention because it's going to change depending on when you watch this video, but if you go to your menu and then from here you go to events, there is going to be different stuff in here depending on the time of year that you watch this video, and a lot of them will be worth doing. By the time this video comes out, it's very likely that the event, the Jianghu Martial Games, will have begun, and that's probably going to be something you'll either want to do daily or weekly depending on the rewards, so it's always worth going into your events and then taking a look through here and maybe just ticking, working your way through that, because they can often give some pretty good rewards as well. With that all being said though, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see more content on Where Winds Meet, more informational, more anything to do with this game, hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments down below any other areas of this game that you want some more content on. And as always, I'll catch you guys all in the next video.